All right, welcome
Perfect.
everyone. We are so excited to have our Thursday night call, and I am going to turn it over to you and let you get started.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, first of all, hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for hopping on tonight with us. And if you guys don't know who I am or you're wondering like who the heck is this lady? My name is Jonet Greenfield and I am on the training team at home office. So I'm going to share a little bit more about me and my story in a little bit. But if you guys are hopping on, I have the chat open. I would love for you all to comment with a little heart, put like a little heart emoji in the chat. Let me know you're here. First of all, I don't ever like feeling like I'm just talking at people. I want this to be definitely engaging. I would love to hear from you and see you guys interacting with me. But huge kudos to all of you guys because a lot of people don't hop on training calls. And so if you're here, we're going to be talking a little bit differently to you tonight because that means that you're interested in your business. You're interested in growing and building a sustainable business. And so I'm very excited to share with you tonight. Also, I just want to throw a little shout out to your leader, Martha, because I want you guys to know. And if you guys have only been on Scentsy's team or only joined Scentsy and only been on Martha's team, I said that wrong. You might not know like what a huge blessing it is to have a leader that is willing to pour into you, to do training. I can tell you just from lots and lots of experience in direct sales that it's not normal and it's not actually all that common to have leaders that are willing to invest their time and their effort and their energy into training you. So throw a little shout out in the chat for Martha because I always think it's a big deal when you have a leader. I love that. That when you have a leader that is willing to invest in you, that's such a big deal. And it's like the unsung hero of direct sales, leaders that are leading from the front and that are pouring into their teams. So huge shout out to Martha. And a little apology. Martha and I got our dates mixed up, which you guys probably saw because we were supposed to do this call last week. We had a date mix up, and so it was a little bit of a thing, and I felt so bad. So I just want you guys to know a little bit of apology on our end for mixing up the dates, but everything works out for a reason, and I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so let me screen share now. So I titled, and oh shoot, hold on, I lost my chat box. I just want to make sure I can see chat. There we go. I titled this training in particular. Oh, I shared the wrong screen. Hold on. Sorry. I titled this. Oh, wait. That should be right. Hold on. Let me see. Uh, okay, there we go. I titled this training that I do, Each One, Reach One, the Power of Sponsoring. So first of all, just for terminology's sake, some people call this recruiting, some people call it sponsoring. What I think this is, is anytime you bring someone into the business on your team. So I want you to know that I'm going to call it sponsoring and sometimes I might call it recruiting, but to me, they're in and of the same thing. They're very like intertwined. I pretty much use those two words interchangeably. So each one, reach one, the power of sponsoring. And I titled it this because I want each of you to know that you have the power to reach one more person at least through sponsoring. And what I typically find or realize is that a lot of people have trouble with, but how do I tap into that power? How do I do that thing? And so that is exactly what we're going to cover tonight. We're going through all things recruiting, sponsoring. We're literally covering it all tonight. So be prepared. This is going to be about an hour training. And if you have any questions, I would love to tell you to jot it down just for time's sake. If I stop and answer questions, I might cover it later. So just for time's sake, to be respectful of everyone's time, to keep us on time, I'll cover all of that at the end. We'll go over questions. So I want you to write down your answers because in case I don't rely on your memory. In case I don't cover it, it's a great question to ask at the end. But we'll do all questions and answers at the end, like I said, just to be respectful of everyone's time. But before we do that, I would love to know, I want you to think about your Scentsy business. And I want you to pretend that I had a magic wand. If I were to wave a magic wand over your business, how many new teamies would you want me to add to your team by the end of May? Okay. So I want you to think about it and be realistic. I put my chat box over here and I don't know what happened to it. So hold on. I'm trying to see, put in the chat. I don't know where my chat box went. Chat. Oh, okay, here we go. I got it. Okay. Put in the chat how many. Okay. Let's see. 4, 6, 2, 5, 2, 3, 3. Okay, that's great. Okay, we're gonna keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I want you to write that number. If you're taking notes, write that at the top of your page. Because this is a great goal. Wendy said 5, Megan said 2, Marlene said 3. This is great. Okay. Too bad I don't have a magic wand, right? I don't have a magic wand, but I'm going to give you all of my best tips and tricks for sponsoring. So first, let's talk about your secret sauce to sponsoring. What I want you to know, and I say this every time, if you take nothing away from this training, what I want you personally to know about when it comes to sponsoring is that your Scentsy story is your secret sauce to sponsoring. I'm going to say it one more time because this is very important that you understand. Your Scentsy story is your secret sauce to sponsoring. Okay. Make sure you write that down. Make sure if you don't have it, if you don't have a pen and paper, make sure you like embed it in your brain that your story is so powerful. And I'm going to share a little bit about my story. So this is kind of more my direct sales story, not necessarily my Scentsy story, but you'll track with me. So let's say 15 years ago now, 14 years ago, 14 years ago. Also, I'm not a math person. Little fun fact about me. 14 years ago, I started a direct sales business. And at this time, I had a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So I had very young kids at home. Because of their ages and the cost of daycare, it really didn't make sense for me to work outside of the home. I was essentially in a place where I was going to be paying for daycare and gas to get to and from work, and then would have very little, if anything, left over at the end. So at this time, 14 years ago, my husband and I made a tough decision where I'm just going to stay home and I'm going to be with my kids, which is honestly my heart's desire. That's what I wanted to do. But it was a tough decision financially. And when I tell you we were broke, I mean, we were like broke. We were a one income family. We had to like double check our account before we bought anything. Before we I mean, I'm not joking. Like before we were wanted to stop and buy gum at the gas station. Like we just did not have the extra finances. So at this time, my mother-in-law had come to visit us from Tennessee, and we live in Idaho. And she had brought this really cute product, and I loved the product. And immediately, me knowing that we don't have extra money, like we're just like living paycheck to paycheck, we have enough to pay our bills, and that's pretty much it. I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so amazing. And she said to me, hey, you should contact my consultant because this is a product you can get for free. And I was like, what? How do I get that? Like, I just want you to know if you've ever been broke, you'll relate to this. This will resonate with you. If you've ever been broke, free is your favorite word. I remember my friends would say, hey, do you want these shoes for your kids for free? Yes, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there in an hour. Free is your favorite word when you don't have any money. So I was like, I can get it for free? Like, how? And so she told me, oh, you just get people together to shop. It's what I do. My mother-in-law had hosted a few times. She said, you get people together to shop and then you get money based on what they buy. And I was like, sign me up. I would love to get this product and I would love to get it for free. So I get in contact with her consultant, and her consultant lives in Tennessee. I live in Idaho. And she said, you know what? We can do a catalog party. You'll get the same benefits as if I was there in person. And I said, what's a catalog party? And she said, I'm just going to mail you a catalog and some order forms, a couple of monthly special flyers, and you just collect orders from your friends and family. Based on their orders, you get rewards. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So she sent me a catalog party packet. And at some point, she had called me and she said, hey, okay, I want you to remember 14 years ago, honestly, it wasn't that long ago. It feels to me like it wasn't that long ago. But technology wise, when I think about this, I was like, wow, that feels like ancient history because we didn't have Facebook. I mean, Facebook was just coming on the scene at this point. And texting definitely wasn't a thing. So I had to actually call this lady. If any of you do not like getting on the phone like me, I was not very, so she called me and I was like, oh, she's calling. Oh, I got to answer because I want this product for free. So she called me and she said, hey, has your party packet come? And I don't remember to be honest, I don't remember if it had come and I hadn't opened it or if it hadn't come yet. But nonetheless, she said words to me that I will never forget, words that literally changed my life. And we're going to talk more about this later, but let me tell you what she said. She said, well, I've been thinking as a catalog party host, you are going to be doing all the work that I would do as a consultant. You're going to be sharing this product and collecting orders from your friends. If at any point in time you want to do this yourself, you can earn not only that one product you love and want for free, you can also earn commission off of every order that's placed on your party. I immediately was like, wait, hold on. Hold on. I can not only get the thing I want for free, but I can also earn money at the same time. Excuse me? What? Like to me, sounded too good to be true. Also, I did not, it was $99 to sign up. I'll be honest, you guys know I told you I was broke. I did not have an extra $99 to sign up. So at that conversation, my interest was 100% peaked, definitely interested, definitely wanted to do it, but did not let her know because I'm like, but I don't have $99 to sign up. So I'm like, well, that sounds really great. Cool, cool, cool. Thanks. Bye. Like, really cool. Can't do it. So then I get the party packet and I open it. Remember, at this point, I had never even seen a catalog. I didn't know a catalog was a thing. Like I didn't know. I just knew that there was a product I wanted. And so I opened the catalog. Now, at this point in time, this was again 14 years ago. So things have changed a little bit since then. But at this point in time, they used to have what they called like consultant spotlights. And they would have a consultant. Would have like why she joined, like a little bio kind of about her. And they would have on the side, they had like where they lived, how long they've been a consultant, and their average monthly income. That was all right there in the consultant spotlight. Again, for like income disclosure, I want you guys to know that that wasn't there at the time, but it is today, just so you know. It's not like you can go out posting your income. But I want you guys to know that I saw the amount she made monthly. The monthly amount she made, her average monthly commission was $11,000. Now, when I saw that, my mind was blown. I was like, I mean, I thought you could make some extra money off your friends and family ordering, but I didn't know you could make like this kind of money. Like I had no idea that was even feasible, that was even possible. Again, income disclosure statement, little disclaimer, not everyone makes that kind of income, but I want you to know that everyone can make that kind of income. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. So I saw that $11,000. I've never picked up my phone faster to call somebody in my life. I called her up and I was like, hey, Jennifer, yeah, thanks for got the catalog packet, was looking through it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Also, I saw you're in the catalog here and I see that you earn $11,000 a month. And I'm just curious how you do that. Again, probably the next thing she said that changed my life forever, which was she told me to grab a pen and paper and that she would tell me her exact process and system to earn that kind of income. And again, never grabbed a pen and paper faster in my life either. So I grabbed a pen and paper and she said, okay, this is a 3-step process. So I want you to write 1, 2, 3. So I wrote 1, 2, 3. She said, okay, next to number 1, I want you to write recruit. Recruit. She said, next number 2, I want you to write book. Book. She said, next number 3, I want you to write sell. I wrote sell. She said, this is the master key to success in a direct sales party plan business. And if you focus your time and energy on running your business with these 3 things in mind, in this order, from recruiting first, booking next, and then selling, you'll be a top income earner in the company. And, I hated being on the phone. So I was like, okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. Looking back, like I wonder how that conversation really sounded because that's all the information I wanted. And I just remember getting in and getting out and being like, OMG, I can do this. Or I can do this. I was thinking, I want to do this. So fast forward, my first company conference, which is like equivalent to SFR. It was like a first company conference. And all of a sudden, like I'm sitting there eating my food, not a care in the world. And they say my name from stage and they're like, please join us on stage. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? I had no idea. Literally full food. My mouth was full of food. And I was recognized at that conference as some of the top, well, in Scentsy terms, it'd be like a top certifier or like an annual mentor. But in my first 9 months of the business, I had sponsored and certified, so helped people sell their first 1,000 in PRV. I had sponsored and certified 37 people in 9 months. That's not the total number I recruited. It was the total number that had actually certified. The total number recruited really didn't count for anything. They had to actually like have a strong start to the business, which is obviously certifying. Again, had no idea that was a thing. I was just trying to do what the lady told me to do. She said, this is how you make money in the business. And that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. Now, why am I telling you this? I am not telling you this to brag. I'm not telling you this to be like, look what I did. I'm not trying to show off. What I am telling you is that if me, a young mom who literally has no stinking clue what I'm doing, if I can do this, how much more could you do? How many more people could you sponsor? How many more people could you certify? Because I'm telling you, I knew nothing. And one thing really important to remember in our business is that everyone starts with the same kit. And the one side of the coin is that everyone starts with the same kit. Everyone has the same opportunity. And I want you to think of like the top recruiters in Scentsy, the people that are recruiting 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 people a month. Guess what? They have the same opportunity to offer that you do. They have the same starter kit to offer that you do, the same exact compensation plan that you do, the same host rewards that you do. They literally have the same exact things to offer. But the one thing that's going to make you stand apart from everyone else is your story. And that's why it's so powerful. And it doesn't matter if you think that your story, you might be like, I honestly was a kidnapper. Like I just wanted the kit. I wasn't planning on doing anything with this. Or you might be like, you know what? We were really desperate and needed maybe you needed to get away and you needed something to fulfill you personally. Maybe you needed the finances like I did. It doesn't matter like what end of the spectrum you're on. Every story has power and stories are what people resonate with. And hear me loud and clear on this. Products don't recruit people. So it doesn't matter what's in the starter kit. That's not what's going to recruit people. Paper doesn't recruit people. And when I mean paper, I mean catalogs, set and warmer of the month flyers. That doesn't recruit people. Guess what? People recruit people. You have the power to recruit other people. And what's going to be the most impactful is your Scentsy story. Okay. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I forgot about my slides. This was my one slide I forgot. Sponsor, book, sell in that order. That's the master key to success. But let's talk about why sponsor. So you might be like, okay, but what are the benefits, especially if you're someone newer to the business? You might be thinking, but why? Okay, I want to talk about the top 3 reasons I think you should sponsor. There are a million and gazillion. Honestly, if we were going to cover them all, we'd be on this call till midnight. So I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to cover 3 top reasons to sponsor. Number 1 is that it's working smarter, not harder. And what I mean by that is that when you start your Scentsy business, essentially you are opening up your own storefront. Like you are your own store, you're your own business. You are full CEO of this one storefront, right? Is it possible for you to go do one party every night of the week? Yeah, if you want to burn out and be exhausted. But do you know what a better solution is? If you open up more storefronts, you bring more people into the business, And all of you do one party a week. That's how it works, smarter, not harder. Instead of you having to run rampant and work, do all these parties and try and make all these connections and make all these sales, what if instead you open up more storefronts and you have a team full of, this is just five, a team full of five people, and all of you do one party a week? The compound of you guys all partying adds up significantly. So instead of you just reaching 5 to 10 people in one party a week, now you're reaching 30 to 60 people with everyone doing just one party a week. Okay, so this is where you're leveraging synergy and multiplication. Okay, it really is working smarter, not harder. The number two reason I tell you why you should sponsor is because you have the opportunity to leave a lasting impact by sharing a life-changing opportunity. Most of you had no idea that when you started your Scentsy business, that it would afford you the opportunity to say yes to more things. And I'm not saying afford it financially. I'm saying yes to more travel, yes to new friendships, yes to growing personally and professionally. There are so many incredible blessings that come from starting your own business that leave a lasting impact and are absolutely life-changing for other people. One thing I'll tell you is that if you're waiting for like the next join promo to market, or you're like waiting for a new kit, maybe you're like, sometimes we're on the cusp of like one kit ending and one kit starting. If you're focused on the product, I would tell you that you are not dreaming or thinking big enough, because Scentsy is so much more than a starter kit. And this is the analogy I always love to share with people. If Martha and I, okay, no, don't even say Martha yet. Okay, let's just say I want to go on a trip to the Bahamas, but I don't want to go alone. If I want to take Martha with me, do you think it would serve me better to talk to her about the journey and everything it takes to get there? So, maybe I'm telling her, hey, you're going to need to book your flights. It's like anywhere from $800 to $1,000. Also, after you book your flights, or even before, you need your passport because we're going out of country. So I'm going to need you to fill out this paperwork. For passports, you have to mail in a check. You can't do any credit cards. You can't do any cash. You have to go get a check. If you don't have a checkbook, you're going to have to go get one printed from your bank. Also, it's going to take about 6 to 8 weeks. That's if you pay the expedited fee. It could take longer, especially ever since the pandemic. It's even a little bit longer. Everything's a little backed up. But once you have your fee, you and I are going to ride coach because it's the cheaper option. We're going to ride coach. It's going to be super uncomfortable. It's not that fun. But once we get there, we'll be so worth it. Okay. None of that sounded fun at all. None of that sounded appealing at all. But what if instead I was like, hey, Martha, you and I both work so hard. We're both busy working moms on the go. And you know what I think we deserve? I think we both deserve a little R&R. Can you imagine you and me in a beach chair on the ocean, smelling the salty air, feeling the nice tropical sun on our skin? Like I'm feeling, the warm sand between our toes. Okay. Doesn't that sound much more appealing than the journey, the destination versus the journey? Much more, right? Give me put a tropical thing. I forgot to look over the chat. Put any tropical emoji if you're tracking with me. Here's how that relates to your Scentsy business. And why I mentioned if you're always waiting for the kit to talk about or the join promo to market. The starter kits and join promos, those are the vehicle to the destination. But that's it. That's all it is. It's the way to get there. But what we should be talking about is the destination, the possibilities and the potential of starting your own business. Oh, I love it. Macon, Erica, thank you guys. If you are getting Wendy, Stephen, thank you. If you're getting hung up on kits and what we do have and what we don't have, and when something new comes out, you're focused on the plane ride, essentially. Like, who loves the plane ride to the Bahamas? No one. Not even first class people. You might take a picture there because you're excited about where you're going. You might take a picture with your starter kit because you're excited about where you're going, but you're not focused on this plane ride. You're focused on where you're going. And so I want to encourage you, if you find yourself focusing on the starter kits or join promos, think bigger. Conversation starters are the starter kits are the conversation starter. That's a great way to start a conversation, to talk to people, to initiate conversation, but it's not the selling factor of the business opportunity. The selling factor is the possibilities and potential of what this starter kit can lead to. We get too hung up. Honestly, we get too hung up on what's in it. And honestly, we need to focus on what we can achieve, what we can earn, what we can do, what we can be, what we can have when you get this starter kit. Another thing, and I think I mentioned this a little bit later too, but another thing to think of is when you are focused on the value, and if the value outweighs the cost, people will always find a way to come up with the cost. Because to this day, I cannot tell you how I came up with $99 to buy that starter kit. No clue. I had no extra money. I don't know where I came up with $99. But when I saw that the value outweighed the cost, that the potential was bigger than the $99, I sure as heck found a way to come up with $99. So when you focus on the value of this being a life-changing opportunity, and life-changing is different for everyone. For some people, it's meeting new friends and experiencing the Scentsy community, which, by the way, is incredible. I mean, I know that a lot of you, this might be your first and only direct sales business, but let me just tell you, someone that's been in direct sales for a long time, Scentsy is special. There is something different and special about Scentsy. And I know that we say Scentsy spirit, Scentsy spirit, Scentsy spirit, and we talk about it. And sometimes the longer you've been in the business, the easier it is to kind of forget that how special and warm and inviting it is for other people. But I'll tell you, when I came to Scentsy, so I've only actually been at Scentsy for a little over a year now. When I came to Scentsy, people thought I was crazy. They were like, why are you leaving your business to go to Scentsy? And I'll tell you what I told them. I said, okay, I want you to think about this. They had hyper growth. You guys had hyper growth. A fragrance company had hyper growth in 2020. I want you to think about how special a company has to be, a fragrance company has to be, to have hyper growth in a year, during a year where the world could not smell. What? The world could not smell, and you guys were like having hyper growth. And I feel like that's a huge testament to the community and to the Scentsy spirit. So even if it's not financial, even if it's not for the products, there is something special at Scentsy, and that is a gift that you have to share with other people. Okay, let me keep going. Okay, the third reason I put for top reason to recruit is to grow your income. And I put this in here. I know that income and money can kind of be a little taboo for people to talk about, but we know from direct sales statistics that income is the number one reason people join a direct sales company, the number one reason. So if that's the number one reason, we should talk about it, right? It's kind of my stance on it. Also, if you're somebody that joined, if you don't mind sharing and declaring in the chat, shoot, I keep forgetting to look at the chat. If you don't, Martha, you never thought about that, and I love it. If you don't mind putting in the chat, if you're comfortable that you joined Scentsy for income. I joined the direct sales company I joined for income. And some people don't feel comfortable sharing that, and that's okay if you don't. But what I want you to know is that if you are someone that did that, moving up the career path can only be done after you get certified, can only be done through sponsoring. You have to sponsor and build a team. So if you're somebody that's like, I want to earn significant money, or even just, I want to earn better money, I want to work smarter, not harder, you need to sponsor. This training is for you because sponsoring is the only way to keep moving up the career path. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, I want to do it. I'm motivated to sponsor. I know why I should sponsor now, or the top reasons why it's important to sponsor, but you have a couple things that hold you back. And that's normal. We're humans and we have obstacles, and we have what I like to call stinking thinking. Like, we get in our mind and we honestly hold ourselves back from a lot of potential. And so I want to kind of like bust through some obstacles today, maybe some roadblocks, for the top reasons that hold us back from sponsoring. Number one is, what if I lose my best customer? Now, if you're somebody that's been selling Scentsy for any amount of time, you might be thinking it is wonderful to get commission off of a customer's order. And it is. And you might be also thinking, it doesn't make sense. And my best customer joins my team. I'm going to go from making 25, 30% to a way smaller percentage. Like you might be like, the math ain't mathin'. Like, how does this even work? Well, let me tell you this. First of all, well, actually, first, I would love for you guys to put in the chat. I want you to think of your very best customer. Okay. I want you to put in the chat how many times a year, so annually, how many times does that person host a party for you? Okay. Marlene, you joined for income. Erica, I love that you guys are sharing. I love that. Melissa, thank you guys for sharing. Okay, Stephen, never. Really good. Okay, never hosted a party for you. 3 to 4, maybe 2 times a year, 2 times a catalog. 2 times is what we find is average. Some people have a little bit more, some people a little bit less. What I want you guys to know is if they love the product, typically your best customer becomes your best team member. Why? Because they love the product so much, it's natural for them to share it. So natural. They have no problem getting orders because they're so passionate and excited about it themselves. They're naturally sharing it, talking about it. And guess what? They end up your best team member. So if you consider that your best customers may be doing 2 parties a year for you, what if that person was a team member doing 2 parties a week or 2 parties a month for you? Think about what that would do to your team sales. Think about how that would impact you. Again, that's where you're leveraging synergy and multiplication. Instead of these people only doing a personal order, maybe it's the best customer only personally ordering. Maybe they are having a party for you every 2 times a year, not every 2 months, every 2 times a year. So semi-annually. Think about if they started doing that on a weekly or monthly cadence. So sometimes when you look at it overall, you're like, well, yeah, it doesn't make sense for me to have you on my team and only make this amount of money on. Yeah, it doesn't make sense if you're looking at their personal order or their one party. Where it starts to make sense is if they're doing that more than once every 6 months or more than once a year. Okay, so I want you to remember that you actually hold yourself back and you hold your team growth back by not sponsoring your best customer. Okay, another grievance I hear is that you think you have to know it all. And this is so normal. I want you to know that if you're somebody that you're like, I feel like I don't know enough. Okay, let me remind you also, when I started my business, if you think I knew anything those first 9 months of my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I remember, I think I was like 2 months into the business at this point. One of the people I had recruited into the business, they called me and said, hey, when do we get paid? And I was like, I have no idea. Literally, when I tell you I knew nothing and I had 37 people certify in my first 9 months, I'm telling you I knew nothing. So it's a living proof that you don't have to know it all. And actually, we find, and let me just reassure you that not knowing it all is actually good for you because we find that people that the more they know, the more they want to share. And they actually tend to overshare. They're sharing all the perks and the benefits. Well, if you look at this business from from the window looking in, let's just say, like you're looking at it, you might be like, wait, so you're telling me you get paid to talk to people, to share products you love, to eat brownies with them, and you get paid for that? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's what tends to happen when people overshare. The more you know, the more you want to share. And this is something to know for every aspect of your business. An overwhelmed mind says no. An overwhelmed mind will shut down and immediately say no because it seems too good to be true. They're like, what's the catch? And this applies to everything. This doesn't matter, like in your marketing, if you're sending a marketing email, talk about one thing. Don't talk about club, joining, and hosting, and send them warm of the month and LTO. No. You're going to, and then wonder why nobody's responding or purchasing off your emails. Same thing. If you're sharing about, oh, you can earn a free trip. And we have this wonderful thing called SFR annually, and you can get paid just by sharing links. It's like, whoa, it's too much. An overwhelmed mind shuts down and they're going to say no every single time. So it's best, the less you know, it's best to simplify. If you're somebody that you already know all the ins and outs, the perks, the benefits, make sure you're streamlining what you share and you're focusing on the highlights, focusing on what's going to be best for that particular person. If there's somebody that's looking for community and connection, focus on the Scentsy spirit and Scentsy community. If there's somebody that's looking to get the product, talk about the product part of it. You don't mention, oh, by the way, we go to SFR annually. That's like overwhelming. That's too much for them. So I want you to remember that not knowing it all is not a bad thing. And it actually might help you with sponsoring. A lot of times people think that, oh, I need to know, like I need to know the Scentsy terminology. I need to know. No, you don't. No, you don't. And another thing that I want to encourage you with is that you have an incredible support team at Scentsy. You have your sponsor, your director, your superstar director, you have consultant support. You have more than just one person to go to. If you are in a bind and you're like, this person wants to know what percentage we earn or whatever the question it is. And if you don't know the answer, you can usually find it. So it's always a great little one-liner to just say, I'm not actually sure, but let me find out. It's really easy, really simple, and it's okay not to know it all. Okay, this is a huge reason I get from people. And tell me if this is you. Tell me if one of the reasons you feel like you don't sponsor or you don't sponsor as much is because you feel like you don't want to bug anyone. You don't want to be annoying. You don't want to be that pushy party person. You just don't want to bother people. If that's you, put it in the comments. It's okay because this is a top 3 reason I put in here because this is a top reason I hear from other people. So first, let me reassure you that if you're worried about being a pushy party person, you're not going to be. You won't. You don't have it in you. And do you know how I know you don't have it in you, even though I don't know you personally? I know you don't have it in you because pushy people don't worry about being pushy. They don't. They just are naturally that way and they don't even consider it or think about it at all. I just realized my laptop battery is low. I got plugged in. So first of all, you're already mindful of it. So you'll be considerate of it and you're not going to be that way. Secondly, okay, thank you, Vicky and Erica, for sharing. Those are the only 2 comments I can see right now. Typically, if you're worried about bothering people or bugging them, you're focused on the wrong person. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how am I going to look? How am I going to sound? How am I going to appear to other people? Right? And I know that can kind of be like a tough pill to swallow, but it's so true. If you have an incredible life-changing gift to give away, why wouldn't you share it? Why wouldn't you talk about it? Why wouldn't you allow other people to say yes or no to it? Right? Like could impact people's lives. Like it could literally put dinner on the table for them. It could literally keep their lights on. It could literally take them out of isolation and get them connected and plugged into a great, warm community. There's so many reasons to share it. And I want you to think about you and how your life would be different if you didn't ever join Scentsy. You might have different friends. You might be talking about things differently. You might be looking at things differently. It impacts you in a way that's invaluable, a way that you could never put a price tag on, right? And then consider this. If it's good enough for you and you said yes and you love it and your life would be so different without it, why wouldn't somebody else's? Would you choose to not offer the opportunity to somebody because you don't want to bug them? It's ultimately being selfish because you're making the choice for them. Instead of letting them decide if it's for them or not, you're deciding, no, it's not for you. Not for you. Not good enough for you. Not the right thing for you. That's very selfish. It's your job to share, invite, and offer the business opportunity to other people. It's their job to accept or decline your offer. Okay. So don't let bugging people be something that gets like the stinking thinking. It gets you in your own way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about 2 things that you need to sponsor. So I want you to imagine these things as kind of like levels up or like little boosters to enhance all of your sponsoring efforts. I always picture like Mario and when he gets the mushroom and he like grows bigger and he has a longer life and he can get hit by a turtle or something and then it extends his life, right? Okay, I want you to think of these 2 things as your little Mario mushrooms, the 2 things that are going to enhance and make you bigger in all of the efforts you put out there for sponsoring. Number 1 is confidence. A big component of successful sponsoring is confidence. And remember, you don't have to know it all. We're not saying you need to know it all, but you need to be confident in what you're offering, confident in this business opportunity, confident in the way that our compensation plan works, the way that the host rewards work, confident in the product. And here's why. Remember that analogy I talked about with Martha and I going to, let's just say we're going to Bahamas, right? Do you think, let's just say I sold her the destination and she's ready to go on the trip with me and we're about to get on the plane and the pilot tells us, yeah, I think I can get you there. I mean, it's kind of far. It's over a lot of ocean, a lot of deep ocean. I'm pretty sure we'll get there. It should be fine. It should be okay. This should be okay. Just get in and buckle up. Do you think I'm getting in and buckling up with a pilot that isn't 100% confident he can get me to the Bahamas? No, we are not going. We are canceling this trip. No, no, no. And the same thing for your business. If somebody wants to join and you're like, I mean, I think you're going to like it. Like the products are great. No matter what, you're going to love the products. But like, the hosting, the party, that's not for everyone. I don't know. If you're not confident in what you're offering, that definitely is going to impact your sponsor for sure. So if you're feeling like, I just need to grow my confidence, I need to be confident in what I'm doing, I'll tell you to do two things. Number one is to grow your skills and knowledge, because the more you learn, the more of a confidence booster it is. The more you hear other people's stories of the way Scentsy's impacted and changed their life, the way that people get excited about the free product they got for hosting a party, the way that the product, they smelled a product for the first time that reminded them of their grandma. Like there's so many different things you can learn that are going to boost your confidence. So first, learn and develop your skills, because the more you go out there and learn, the more stories you hear, it's going to build your confidence. Again, you don't have to know it all, but if you're kind of not sure how our business model works or how the parties work or any of that, if you're not confident in it, you're going to struggle sponsoring. So go out there and grow your confidence, first of all, by growing your knowledge and your skills. Secondly, practice, because the more you practice, the easier it gets, the more confidence you have. And it's not that necessarily it gets easier sharing, it's that you get more confident in how you do it and your approach. And you learn things that work and things that don't work. The more you do it, the more it'll build your confidence. So just practice. Okay, that's confidence is number one. Number two is authenticity. Remember, I talked to you guys about your Scentsy story is your secret sauce. This is where authenticity comes into play. Again, people aren't going to join because of product. People don't join because of paper. People join people. Be authentic in a world that copies and pastes everything, that AI generates everything. Be you, because people will want to join that. And you can tell when things are fake or things are forced. Be yourself, and your vibe will attract your tribe. Not everyone's for you, not everyone's for your team, and that's okay. But if you keep showing up and you show up authentically, the right people will join you and will join your team. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about how to sponsor. So I have a couple tips for how to sponsor. One thing I would love to tell you is that if you decide you want to sponsor, guess what? Recruits show up in your lap. I would love to tell you that. I would love to tell you that you decide you want to sponsor and they just start knocking on your door to join your team. I really, really, you guys would love to tell you that. But the truth is that sponsoring takes intentional and consistent work. I'm going to tell you exactly how to sponsor, but you have to do it intentionally and you have to do it consistently. Another thing is that it's not rocket science. What I'm about to tell you is not going to blow your mind in any way, shape, or form. I can promise you that. It just isn't. But what I'm going to tell you works. It actually works. And so many times we try to find like this like secret key or the magic trick or the magic word. That's not what helps people sponsor. Here's how you sponsor. If you want to sponsor, you need to ask 10 people for every one person you want on your team. Okay, so I want you to look at the number. If you wrote it down, and at the very beginning, I said, how many team members would you want on your month by the end of May? Some of you said 5, some of you said 3, some of you said 2. You need to ask 10 for every one that you want. So if you wanted 2 people, you need to ask 20 people to join your team. If you wanted 5, you got to ask 50 people to join your team. Again, not rocket science, but it is a numbers game and it does work. On average, 1 in 10 will say yes. Okay, so again, if you're think about your goal, if it's 2 to 3 a month, you need to be asking 20 to 30 people a month. And these need to be genuine, authentic conversations. It can't just be going through your friends list on Facebook saying, hey girl, have you seen our new join promo? No, that doesn't recruit people. It's not going to work for you. If you go in doing that, it's going to be a lot more than 10 you got to contact or reach out to. And we're going to talk to you a little bit. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about like some tips and tricks. But what I want you to keep in mind is your goal, and then put in the chat, how many people does that mean you need to reach out to this month? or you need to have a conversation with this month. And then from there, work your goal backwards. So let's say you wanted two, or let's say 3 recruits this month. So you need to ask 30 people. Okay, work it backwards. 30 people divided by 4 weeks. How many people do I need to be talking to a week? And that's up to you. You're the CEO of your Scentsy business. You can decide if you want to contact 5 people every Friday or 10 every other Tuesday or 1 person a day. Like, you get to decide that. But what you need to know, Wendy said 50, Erica said 50, Steven said 40, Haley said 20 to 30, 20, Martha 60. You are in complete control of this. You can decide how many conversations you have. You just have to basically build a tracker and set a goal for how many, or plan. You know, you already set your goal. Set a plan in place for how many you need to contact daily, monthly, however you want to do it, to make that happen. Okay. Haley, I will tell you, Haley said in the chat, it makes me want to throw up. Any good goal should scare you a little bit like that. It should make you be like, I don't know if I could do this. I remember when I was in the business and we'd get the incentive trip requirements every single time. Every single time I'd be like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I earned every trip I ever was able to earn, but every time at the beginning, it should make you feel a little like, oh, I don't know. It should. If you like, I got this, I can do this. It's too easy. You need to set a bigger goal. It needs to be a little bit more. Okay. One thing that will help you when you're sponsoring. So now you know how to sponsor. Let's talk about a couple things that will help you with sponsoring. And this is one of my biggest things I try to tell people when I'm talking to them about, okay, you know how, like, here's some like techniques that you could do to sponsor. So one thing I want you to know is that the words you use when you're talking about the business opportunity, they're either going to hurt you or they're going to help you when it comes to sponsoring. Okay, they're going to either hurt you or help you. So I always like to call it tiger food versus kitty food. And what I mean by that is, if you want to attract a bunch of kitties, a bunch of cute little cats, you're going to throw out some cat nibble, right? You're going to be like, hey, here's some cat nibble for you. But if you're somebody that you're trying to build a strong, sustainable, growing business and you want your future leaders joining your team, you're going to have to be throwing out some meat. You need to be attracting some tigers. Biggest difference in your business is when you're talking about the starter kit and, hey, look, we have 10 new buyers this month. Hey, look at this May promo. Hey, look at this. Guess what? You become a kit dealer. You're just talking about the kit. It's basically throwing out cat nibble. And then you get a bunch of people on your team that only want the kit. They don't care about having a party. They don't care about being active. They don't care about certifying. They don't care about any of that. However, if you focus your energy and your efforts on talking about the business and what the business can do and how the business works, how the business runs and operates, and how they can be a part of it, you start attracting team builders. You start attracting future leaders. You start attracting more people like you. And more people like you, people that get on a training call and want to do the thing. They want to do the business. They want to run their business. They want to be the CEO of their own business. They want the time freedom. They want the flexibility. They want the connection in the community. There's so much to be said for it. But if you're only focused on kit, you're only talking about product, you're throwing out cat nibble, attracting some kitty cats, which is cute. We love our kitty cats. But if you're somebody that you're like, gosh, I'm kind of frustrated that people that join my team, they're not doing anything. Okay, start throwing out some meat. Start being an opportunity sharer instead of that kit dealer that I mentioned. Okay, so now you're like, okay, but who do I sponsor? Now I know I gotta talk to 20, 30, 40, 50 people a month. Who do I talk to? Well, the top 2 places we find for prospecting for new recruits are the party and social media. So first, let's talk about the party, because the party is a really important place, because your host is always your best prospect for the party. Why? Because she's getting a behind the scenes look, or he is getting a behind the scenes look at what a party entails and what it looks like to be you. They're getting that look and view of what it is that this business is. But also, we know they love the product. We know they don't mind gathering people or collecting orders, whether they're gathering people in person to shop or they're sharing a shopping link and collecting orders. They could do that as a consultant, as a team member on your team, and get even more rewards, right? So just for the sake of time, and I can always send these slides to Martha, if you guys, if just for the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving, but if you want to, but basically you want to text your host, kind of like what I say, take a page out of the book, my sponsor, and say, hey, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but you're doing all the work as a host. You could be getting paid for this as well. Okay. And again, that's just planting the seed. Then the day of the party, remind the host, if they haven't already had any kind of sponsoring recruiting conversation with you, remind them, hey, I'm going to be booking parties at your party tonight, whether it's in person or virtual. If you decide you want to be a consultant, these could be your first parties. Like you're giving them these first parties, which by the way, is for host coaching. It's a whole nother call. But one of the great things about host coaching is always go in thinking that if this person joins my team, I want to be able to start them off with a strong start by giving them parties to go do right away. Like booking parties off of parties should always be a top goal, but letting them know like, hey, these could be yours. The other thing I'll tell you, so host is number one prospect, but you want to keep sponsoring your main focus at the parties. So when you go into every party, you want to be thinking through the almost like a sponsoring or recruiting lens. So if you hear a conversation with somebody says, oh, I love this diffuser, but I just don't have enough money for it. If you're going in there with like your sponsoring lenses on, or no, excuse me, your selling lenses on, you're going to be thinking, how can I get this person the best deal? They can't afford it. They want it. How can I get them the best deal? If you go in with a booking lenses on, you're going to be thinking, okay, how can I get this person to book a party so I can get it to them for half off? Right? But if you go in there with your sponsoring lenses on, you're hearing that same thing and you're thinking, they don't have money. They could use some extra money. How can I share this business opportunity with them so they can join my team and earn product at a much better price? And honestly, even get free product and then earn money on top of it. Right? So it just changes your approach for when you hear conversations, it changes what you say, it changes how you react and respond. And that's going to ultimately help you with sponsoring more at the party. Okay, I always do this little thing. I call it the backwards party. So the other thing is that you want to remember that everyone at the party is a potential team member of yours. And you want to keep it the focus. You want to remember that every person could be your next best team member. And one of the best ways that I find sponsoring at parties is what I call the backwards party. This could be done in person. So if you're just in person with people, this could be done virtually. If you're doing like a Facebook Live, it could be done even if you just record yourself and post it in a Facebook party, or you record yourself, put it on YouTube and share it in a texting party or with your shopping links. It could be done anyway. Okay. This is not just in person, but it's really, really helpful for sponsoring at parties or from parties. So what I do is, first of all, I would welcome everyone. Remember, I haven't been a consultant with any company for a year and a half now. So I'm a little out of practice, but this is how I used to start my parties. And it was awesome for getting people to join. So I'd welcome everyone for coming. I'd thank my host and tell them, how I met my host or why I joined. And then what I would say is before you guys start smelling in love and just, before I lose you all, because you guys are going to sniff and smell a lot of things you're going to love tonight. And then you're going to start talking about it and I'm going to lose you all. So before you guys do that, I want to take a minute to talk to you guys about the very best opportunities I have for you at Scentsy. So if everyone grabs your catalog, and I want you to flip it over, and I want you guys to open to page 65. Wait, 60, hold on. Not 65, guys, 61. 61. Open your page to 61. I do not believe in saving the best for last. So the very first thing I want to share with you is the best opportunity I have for you. And that's the opportunity to earn. With Scentsy, you can earn a ton of things, and you can check out a little bit more about it on this page. But when you're building your wish list tonight, if you think that if your wish list adds up to more than 10 items, I want you to come back to page 61 because this is the best opportunity for you if you have a wish list of 10 or more items. Another thing is that I want to invite you guys to watch how easy and fun my job is tonight, because if this is something you could see yourself doing a couple nights a month, then we definitely should talk about the contents on page 60, 61 and 60 and 61. Saying that wrong. Because it's the best way to earn with Scentsy. It's the very best opportunity I could offer you with Scentsy. The second best opportunity I could offer you is on page, hold on guys, I had a different just so you guys side note, I had a different catalog that was earmarked, and I left that catalog at work. Okay, second best opportunity I could offer you is on page 4 and 5 of the catalog, and this is the opportunity to save. So I want you guys to see how much fun we're having tonight. And we want, again, special shout out to Martha for joining us all, gathering us all together. Martha is actually earning free product for getting you guys together tonight. So if you're building out that wish list and it's 5 or more items, definitely come back to page 4 and 5 of the catalog, because I would hate for you to pay full price when you could be getting some things for free and half price. So if this is something, again, you want to do with your friends and family, and if you don't want to spend full price, then having a party is the second best opportunity for you. And the last opportunity I have for you is the opportunity to shop. One thing awesome about Scentsy is that we have something for everyone. We have something for you, for your home, and for your family. You can find our full list. I'm not going to go into it for the sake of time because we're right at 8 o'clock. But then you kind of go into shopping. You can highlight any products or things you want. But what I want you to know, what I want you to get away from this is that I led with the business opportunity. And the top 2 reasons you want to do that is, first of all, if you're somebody that's typically shy to share about the business opportunity, then you want to make sure you do it first. You want to like get it out of the way so that everything else is easier after that, right? Second reason is because you have such a minute time to capture people's full attention. Once they start smelling testers, once other posts start going and everyone starts commenting, if it's a Facebook party, you lose people. And you know this because if you're a virtual partier, then you'll see like your first 2 or 3 posts have the most likes, the most comments, and then it trickles down after that, right? Same for in person. Your first few minutes of presenting has the most engagement, the most eyeballs on what you're saying, the most ears to hear what you're saying. And then it kind of dwindles off after that. And if you're saving the business opportunity to talk about last at the party, what ends up happening is you just cut it and you don't talk about it at all. Or if you're on a Facebook party, maybe you had it scheduled for the end of the party, but by that time, nobody's even in the comments and chatting anymore. No one's even liking and engaging anymore. So you've lost them. But if you lead with, hey, you have a front row seat to see how easy and fun my job is. And if you could see yourself doing this a couple nights a month, I would love to give you more information. It's a simple way to plant the seed and keep the party at the forefront keep the business opportunity at the forefront of your party guest's mind. Okay. Another thing I want to encourage you is to make sure you ask every single guest. Make sure that even if when they come up, say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this yourself? Start a conversation, okay? If you are a virtual partier, this is really big if you're a virtual partier, you'll know that you set up a Facebook event or a group and your host adds in 50 people and maybe 5 to 7, maybe 10 order. What happens to the other 40 people that didn't order? Do you let them just slip through the cracks and don't say anything? If that's you and you're like, oh yeah, the last party I had 20 people were on it and only 4 ordered, and I don't know what happened to the other 15 people. If that's you, 16 people, I want you to screenshot this, because there always is a way to start a conversation and invite people into the business, even if they don't order. Honestly, maybe mostly if they don't order. Maybe they didn't order because they didn't have the finances for it, right? So you don't want to let them slip through the cracks. The worst thing that could happen is they end up joining somebody else's team. And then you'll be like, why didn't I just ask them, right? Okay, so make sure you're asking every party guest. Don't let anyone feel like they're not good enough to be on your team. Okay, the second place, I'm going to go quickly because I know we're right at time, is social media. This is another great place to sponsor because, first of all, it's a network of global people literally at your fingertips. Literally. Like back when I joined a direct sales company, we either had to do in-person parties. I mean, even like texting was like a no thing. Like, do not text. It was like considered like not good etiquette. You're in the right place at the right time. You're just be grateful you're here at this time where you can text and you can post on social, because it was a lot harder and it was a lot more work, required a lot more energy. I pretty much had to do vendor events and home parties to meet and grow and network at all. Okay. But you've literally the world at your fingertips on your phone. Like, how awesome is that? So one thing I want to encourage you when it comes to social media is to be mindful of both your behind the scenes presence, whether behind the scenes is like your Facebook groups, so that's like customer groups, team pages. You want to still be mindful of talking about the business opportunity to your people in any kind of VIP or customer Facebook group. With those groups, you can set even schedule so you can set it up on a consistent basis to be talking about it once a week, twice a week, however much you want, but you can be consistent in there and be talking about it. Don't just be like, this is my customer page, so all I'm going to talk about is LTOs and scent and warmer of the month. No, 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 no. You want to talk about it more than that. Okay. The next thing is your public presence. So like what everyone else sees, but not like the in front of people, not behind closed door part. And what I want you to do is I want you to do a little audit. You don't have to do this right now. This is just your own personal homework for you to do on your own. But I want you to do a little audit and look at your social media page, whether it's your Facebook profile, scroll through, or an Instagram profile, scroll through. If you didn't know you, let's say you went to this as a brand new, like fresh eyes, you went to this page for the very first time, would you know that this person had an opportunity to share? Or would you think that this person was a wax and warmer stealer? It's a little like, oh, it's like a little punch in the gut because you might be scrolling through being like, oh my gosh, all I do is talk about wax and warmers. And my page is just warmers and wax. And first of all, if that's you, that's okay. We all fall into that trap because we love the product and we're excited to share and talk about it. But this is a great area of opportunity for you to say, okay, I need to start showing people more of the business side, more of the possibilities and potential. The top 3 reasons people join direct sales companies are income, product, and community. So those are the 3 things you should be sharing about consistently on your public page. Another reason why this is important to share on your like from your public presence is because if you're just sharing wax and warmers, what happens is you might get a person or two that are like, you know what, she just shares pictures of wax and warmers. I could do that too. And then they join your team and then they just start sharing just wax and warmers. And they're like, well, nobody's buying it because most people know just sharing a post and a picture does not equal sales. It does not automatically convert to sales. So then they think, oh, it doesn't work. I tried sharing it. It doesn't work. So by only sharing wax and warmers, you are setting the expectation for anyone that joins your team that that's all they have to do to be a part of the business. But what if instead you start using your public presence to share about how you follow up, share behind the scenes of what it looks like to have a Facebook party with you, what it looks like to make samples with you, what it looks like to ship from home with you, show the behind the scenes. And what that does is set the expectation that this person does this consistently. This is something that I can't just post wax and warmers and scent warmer of the month on my feed and hope that people want to buy it. Sure, some will, and that's great. But what you want to be doing is showing the business side of it. It not only solidifies and provides social proof for you that you are a business owner and that you are doing this consistently and intentionally, but also shows them that they have somebody that they can trust and follow for business. If I want to join or somebody wants to join and they're like, well, all they do is throw up pictures, that might not be very like reassuring. I don't know if they really know how to do this as a business. I don't know if they can really help me. But if I see that you're doing parties and you're having fun and you're, out and about doing world tour, SFR, that's something I'm like, you know what? I really want to be a part of this. And I know she's involved in hers. So I want to be involved in that too. Okay. I know I talked 100 miles a minute because I saw I was going over time and I'm like, freaking. Okay, so we covered a lot tonight. We covered why to recruit, what you need to recruit, how to recruit, who to recruit. We covered a lot. But really quickly, before we wrap up for question answers, what I want you to do is I want you guys to dream a little big with me. And I want you guys to see that if you guys take this advice and you are reaching out to one person, or no, excuse me, I said that wrong. 10 people for every one person you want. I want you to see what your business could look like in the next 5 months. You could have your storefront and then you could have a ton of others under you, right? 10, right? Now, if you stay consistent, you keep following up with and reaching out to 10 people for every one you want, this is what your business could look like in 7 months. Okay, in 7 months, this is what your organization could look like. That's a pretty big team. That's a great size team. I would love to have this size team, right? And if you stay consistent with it, you keep reaching out to 10 people for every one recruit you want, this is what your business could look like in 1 year. Next May, you could be on a call just like this with this many team members on your team. It's exponential growth, you guys. And this is only factoring in you personally. This isn't even taking into factor or into consideration if you're doing this and you're teaching all of these people you bring in to do the same thing. Look at how much it can duplicate and how much you can multiply your team, right? Okay. One last slide before our questions and answer. One thing I want you to do, and I end every training call with this, is I want you to choose or pick one thing you heard on this call tonight that you're going to implement into your business. Because, and I say this with all the love in the world, but if you spent this whole hour and 7 minutes with me now, you spent this whole hour with me and you put this in your notebook and you put it away and you don't ever think about it again, honestly, it's information overload and it's honestly a waste of your time. This would have been a wasted hour of your life. However, if you choose one thing that you want to implement into your business, one thing, whether it was the backwards party or it was, I need to ask 10 people for every one person I want you to choose just one thing you heard tonight. It could be something you heard for the first time. It could be something you've heard a ton of times, but tonight it resonated with you different. It ignited something different in you. I want you to share it and declare it in the chat, put it out there, and choose one thing you're going to do that's going to increase your sponsoring efforts. Okay. Kathy, the backwards party. I love it. Erica. Okay. And we're going to open it up for questions and answers. Let me stop screen sharing. Steven or recruit book sell. Love it. Love it. Hold on. I'm trying to stop share, but I lost my Zoom chat. There we go. Zoom controls. Okay. I know we're a little bit over time. So if anyone has to hop off, you absolutely can. But if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat. You can unmute. I will stay on definitely and answer any questions you guys have. Put more focus on the opportunity than the kit, not the kit. Yes. Love it. I love it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were talking about sharing more of the business opportunity, can you give a couple examples?
Yes, absolutely. I love that question. So when you want to talk about the business opportunity, I do lean heavily on the top 3 reasons people join: the product, the income, and the community. So what I would do is, first of all, like take a picture of us on this call tonight and be like, just even it could be a story. It doesn't have to be a full post, but just showing people that, hey, there's community and there's training available when you're a Scentsy consultant. So it's talking more about what you can have, what you can be a part of, what you can do more of by saying yes to the business opportunity. So whether it's be more connected or be more, have more products. There's a lot that comes from being a Scentsy consultant, but it's really all about leaning into not just what the starter kit will give you, but more about what the opportunity will give you. So example, like training and development, that's a really huge perk because a lot of people are desperate for this kind of thing. So like anytime you go to World Tour, SFR, a team retreat, even just meeting a Scentsy consultant for coffee or lunch, that stuff really is desirable for other people. And I think sometimes we forget about that because we're so used to it. We're used to that connection and community, but other people aren't. Finances, I always say it's not about the money, but it's about what the money will do. So you don't need to necessarily be like, look how much I made this month. You could say, oh my gosh, thankful for my Scentsy check and being able to stop and get a Starbucks without, worrying, or like show what the money is doing. One thing for me personally was my sister had a daughter, and my sister was 22 at the time. She had a 2-year-old, single mom, my sister. She had a 2-year-old that was diagnosed with brain cancer. And at that time, definitely was never about the money, but the invaluableness of I got to literally live at the hospital with my sister for 8 months and her daughter, and my business never skipped a beat. The flexibility that allowed me, like what other job would I be able to just check out for 8 months and it continues to run? So like those kind of things, like what is the business doing for other people? It doesn't even necessarily have to be you. You could talk about team members like, hey, look what my, what sense the Scentsy business not afforded money wise, but allowed my team member to be able to do this month. Maybe it was take a dream vacation, earn an incentive trip, earn free luggage. Like there's all these things that the business does that other people are like, man, that would be really nice to be able to have that opportunity.
All right,
Does that
everybody
answer enough?
smile. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And Stephen, was I saying your name right? Stephen or Stefan?
Steven.
Stephen, okay, okay. One of my best friends is Stephen. And I was like,
Stefan.
Stefan?
No, just like the author. You got it.
Okay, okay.
I have to say, one, thank you for doing this, but
Yeah.
totally mind blown on the backwards party
Okay,
because
good.
I've slowly started to dabble in home parties. And what you said about like, you start the party and they start smelling stuff, and it's so hard like to get
Yeah.
them to focus once they start.
Yep.
And after you said that, like that opened my eyes and to totally switch it around
Yeah.
because I think back to the ones that I've done, and I don't think I even said anything about joining at the end.
Yeah. Well, and it's so true. Like you lose them kind of, like they get so
Yeah.
excited when they start talking and they're like, oh, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of a summer day when I was with my, the memory lane, right? Which is so common for fragrances. So I do think it's really important to like set it out the gate. First of all, it's once you get that over with, because that's like the hardest thing I think for most people to talk about. But then also you're planting the seed because the rest of the party, you kind of set it up for them to be like, actually, I really could. She literally talked over there for 15 minutes and then she handed around testers and was eating brownies. Like,
and look at all these people
I could
ordering.
do that. Yeah, yes, exactly. Look at everyone order. Like, I could do this. And so you plant that seed. But if you don't ever plant, like talk about it up front, you're not planting the seed. They don't even know to think about it. They might just be like, oh, just ordering here for my friends. But don't ever think about, wait, I could do this too.
And it makes it easier to say it at the beginning. You get it out of the way, like you said.
Yes, exactly.
And you don't have
Exactly.
to think about it anymore.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
your recruit, book, sell like that. I'm flipped. I'm totally opposite.
Yep.
I sell, and focus on annual sales.
Yes. And I'll tell you, okay, so here's the thing about when you sell. I always say it's like climbing a mountain. Honestly, selling, because the product's so awesome, we all love the product. It's easy to start there and be like, okay, you know what? A lot of my coworkers, a lot of my friends, a lot of my family love the product. I'm gonna start asking them to host. So when you picture a mountain, so you're here, there's a mountain, but you're here, you're like asking them to sell, and you're like, I'm gonna ask them to host. And so you go up, and some people might be like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds fine. And you might say, you love the product, why don't you host? Okay. So then they host and you're like, you know what? I want to recruit too. So now I'm going to ask all these hosts if they want to join. And then you're like climbing the mountain. And it's really hard to climb a mountain. I don't know if you guys have ever climbed a mountain. It's not very fun. It's really hard. But if you lead with the business opportunity, which I think, and it took me a long time to realize that that's kind of what I had done in my personal direct sales business. People be like, what'd you do? And I said, I just recruited first. I started at the top. I started with that big hard ask and said like, hey, would you ever want to do this? Could you join my team? Like, would you ever see yourself doing what I'm doing? I started there. And if they said no, then I slid down and I was like, okay, no problem. It's not always the right time for everyone. How about you have a party because you can still get some products for free and discounted? My tagline used to be like, okay, I'd love to still hook you up with free and half price products. What do you say? Almost always they'd say yes because people don't like to say no more than twice in a row. It's a human It's psychology. People don't like to say no more than once. So if they say no first, they'll almost always say yes to hosting. So then you at least got a host out of it. But if they're saying yes to the order and then yes to hosting and then yes to joining, they're feeling like you're adding more and more to their plate. And it's a harder and harder and harder ask versus if you start here and then like, yeah, I'll do a party for you, but I'm not going to join your team, but I'll do a party for you. And it actually works way better. And so many people do it the opposite way. Like you were saying, they start with the sell and then they're climbing a mountain being like, this is really hard. It's like, okay, well, let's slide down the mountain. Let's like start at the top and then work our way down. It is.
And you're still making sales by
Yes.
the 9 out of 10 that tell you
Yes.
no.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing is that people still love the product no matter what. And sales are probably the easiest thing to get in Scentsy. Like the sales are going to come. The product's amazing. It's a consumable product. So people are still going to be wanting more and more and more. The sales are like, don't even worry about that. That's naturally going to come. What you need to work a little harder for is recruiting and booking. Those are going to be a little bit more of intentionality and purpose behind it to get it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what Kathy said. I don't give cents out till halftime. Oh, that's smart, Kathy. That is smart. Very smart. Yeah, Alyssa. I'm glad you were on. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So let's say you're doing customer follow-up and
Mhm.
you're chatting with the customer. Oh my God, I love Scentsy, blah, blah, blah. And would you go into offering the opportunity at that point?
Yes. So first of all, I would share about it as much as you can. So if somebody already purchased from you, first of all, stop using the F word in follow up, because follow up, when you use follow up in your follow up messaging, it actually is a sales trigger, and people are like, they think no. They're like, no, 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 no. Like, oh, you're following. So don't ever say, I'm following up to see. Leave the F word out of your follow up. And instead say, oh my gosh, Martha, I was thinking about you because I know you love this bar, and this bar. Have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? Have you ever thought about sharing the product with family and friends to earn extra money? You can say it however you want to say it, and I don't usually say, like, do you want to join my team or do you want to start your own business? That's kind of like some big scary. But if I was reaching out to you and you had just bought, let's just say you bought a couple bars for me, I'd probably reach out and say something about, hey, I was thinking about you because you got this bar, this bar, and this bar. Like, I'm still keeping it personal. I want you to know that I'm not just sending this as a copy and paste to everyone on my order history list. I'm personally saying, hey, I know you got sun castles and I'm trying to make a splash. And summer's, which reminded me of summer's coming. And if you've ever thought about having your own business or doing what I do, this is a great time to start for the summer. You could use whatever you want, but I'm mentioning your summer bars and it's time to get started for the summer. But don't be afraid to ask. The thing is crazy and honestly wild about it is it's so easy to be like, okay, they only ordered from me once. I'm not going to ask. You will be surprised at when you ask, hey, have you ever considered or have you ever thought about? How many people will be like, actually, I was thinking about it. Well, I did look at the starter kit. Well, I did get on your website. Well, I did see in the catalog. So you'll be shocked at how many people say they have considered it or thought about it. And it starts the conversation. It starts like it opens the door. And if they say, oh, yeah, I have thought about it, then my one liner is, well, tell me what's holding you back or what's stopping you. Honestly, just what's stopping you is a great tagline for, like, if you reach out to somebody and they're like, well, I've considered it, or I did notice that. What's stopping you? Oh, here's what happens. They'll give you an objection. They're going to tell you what's stopping you. And then what you say after that is say, okay, Martha, say, oh my gosh, I totally understand. I can definitely relate with those. Tell me this. What's the best that could happen? And once you say what's the best that can happen, they start talking themselves into it. They start telling themselves why they should be on your team.
I'm taking notes. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I have one other question. We have a lot of moms with littles in our group. Um,
Yeah.
and you were a mom with littles when you first started. So how did you fit Scentsy into your life?
That's a great question.
And not Scentsy, whatever you were doing.
Yeah, yeah. And I love to talk about this because I literally used to tell people, like, I earned my first $1 million in the nooks and cranny of my day. And I legit mean that. And when I say the nooks and cranny of my day, if you focus on the income producing activities, you only need 10 minutes a day. Because, like, if you're focused on, I want to sponsor, I want to book, I want to sell, whatever you're focused on, it really only takes so long to reach out to somebody and host coach. It only takes so long to reach out to somebody and offer the business opportunity. It only takes so long to work with a new team member that's working on promoting up. You can do it in 5, 10, 20-minute chunks of your day. And so I want you to know that if you're somebody that has little kids, or you're just somebody that's busy and you work full time, you don't have to run this business an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at a time to be successful. You can build a business in the nooks and crannies of your day. And I'm literally living proof that you can do that, because I literally would only work my business like nap time or like waiting in the car, pickup line, the school pickup line with my kids. Like, I wasn't ever like sitting at a desk with a laptop working my business for the majority. Like, especially when I was in really building mode, I was not sitting down just like with my face in a laptop. And actually, that time we really didn't have social media as much, anyways.
So it's about being intentional.
Yes, and focus on the income producing activities, because if you're focused on, well, what happens is you think, okay, I need to work my Scentsy business. So you get on Facebook, and then you get sucked into the vortex of scrolling. And then you are like 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes later, you're like, oh my gosh, you feel like you've been working because you've been looking at all your Facebook groups and you've been reading about little news articles, but you didn't actually do anything that moved the needle in your business. So I always say, make a list of 5 things you need to do that will move the needle in your business. And then choose 3. So highlight 3 of them that are non-negotiable. Like those 3 you have to do before you lay your head down at night. Another little trick that I always did was I used to I hated grocery shopping with my kids. So I would wait till my husband came home from work. I would leave and then go grocery shopping in the evening. And I would purposefully sit in my car for 20 minutes before I went into the grocery store, just following up and reaching out to people. And it was a time that like it didn't feel like a big time away, but I wouldn't let myself get out until I hit my goal. Like maybe I wanted to reach out to 10 people, maybe it was 15, however many it was. Like I'd have a list ready to go so that when it's time to go, when it's time to work, and when you have 10 minutes, you're focused and you're doing things that are moving the needle in your business.
That's very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? I think we're good. This has been incredible. So amazing.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule right now.
Yes.
We appreciate you. We really, really do. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else with any thoughts?
Are you going to be at SFR?
Yes, I'll be in Expo. I'm in the selling and recruiting room. Go figure. Come to the selling and recruiting room. Find me.
All right.
I'll be around throughout, but that's where I'll mainly be, is the selling and recruiting room.
All right. And we want to report to her at the end of the month that we all achieve these goals, right?
Yes, you guys, I would love to hear. I would love to hear. You guys can find me on Facebook. It's Jonet Greenfield. It looks like Jonet. It's Jonet Greenfield, and it's --Scentsy. So that's my Scentsy one. But I would love for you guys to friend me, keep me updated. If you guys ever think of anything, I know it's like after you do a call like this, you guys might be later going to bed, or tomorrow be like, oh, what about this? I am more than happy to whenever take questions. So if you ever want to reach out and just say, hey, what about this? Or you want an idea? I love talking about Scentsy and the business opportunities. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys have a good night.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.